Welcome to the Connecticut Winter 2024 Semifinals postgame show. I'm your host, Connor, sitting in for Greg today. It's probably a sad day for the viewers. I know a lot of people, probably 9 out of every 10 viewers, tune in just to see Greg's beautiful face on the screen here. But I'm joined with a great cast of analysts to help me out here. We got Ashton. Ashton, how you doing today, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing good. Alexandra.
Hey,
And last but not least, Jahbari. How you doing, Jahbari?
Doing well, man.
So we had some good games on Thursday night. Some records that were broken, some highlights that were made. There's a lot of activity going viral right now on the social medias, so definitely keep your eyes out over there for that. But let's start out with this 9 o'clock game. We had Yaga taking on the biggest skis, and this was a game that we anticipated being very close. Yaga ends up with a blowout win, 121-71. Ashton, why don't you talk a little bit about what Yaga did to take that lead and just never let go of it?
Before I go into that, I want to congratulate Michael Davis for his 2,000 points in the career. He did that, just scoring 35 points. But Yaga looked like themselves the whole time. They in the beginning it was a close game, but once like that second quarter came, they kind of just took it over and they played like themselves. And they had like six players, double-digit points, which is like rare to see, especially in this league, which is very fast paced. Um, and Yaga, they just kind of dominated the game in the posts, and Big Skis had nothing to like stop it. Elijah Henry was the only big man that was there, and but he had nothing to stop like everyone just attacking the paint at once. And then they were also hitting threes at the same time. It was like a recipe for disaster for the Big Skis, but it went in definitely in favor for Yaga.
All right, I love it. I love it. Alexandra, I know you were watching that game. You're getting a kick out of it. There was a lot of trash talk going on
um,
between those two teams.
yeah,
What do you see between them?
it was a very heated game. I'm not gonna lie, I was definitely rooting for biggest skis. Um, I don't know, I really believed in them. It didn't look, I mean, they had a chance. It seemed like in the beginning,
Hmm.
but Yaga just was making all these three pointers. Their defense was really good. I know a lot of biggest skis players were like going for it, and I mean, Yaga has a lot of tall, big players, so um, defense was really good with Yaga, and I feel like Yaga was just up and down the court. Um, yeah.
Absolutely, definitely a size advantage that Yaga took advantage of and definitely
It
used
was
their.
a very entertaining game to watch for sure. Um, Trash talk is always my favorite.
I think that's all of our favorites. Jabari, what did you see between those two teams out there?
Um, Man, the performance by Mike Davis was stunning. It was like once he started cooking, it was nothing they could do. Biggest beats. Congratulate them for getting them this far. Fortunately, they can't make it to the finals. Hopefully, this doesn't bring them down by any chance. Hopefully, I'll see them next year, possibly. But Yaga, they were just getting shots. Biggest Skis wasn't able to get any shots in, really. They were struggling shooting wise. Then Yaga, their defense was amazing. Every time they got right to half court, it was a point right off the rip. So, amazing job by Yaga. Can't wait to see him in the finals.
Yeah, I think, the rule of thumb when you're facing Yaga is to not really start talking until you feel like the lead is, pretty much in a safe place. But I give the biggest skis a little bit of respect for at least they were chirping early, right? So they had confidence in themselves. And I can definitely, tip my hat to that. But at the same time, I mean, that's a shark tank when you're in there facing
They
Yaga. And
were
once you wake those
Yeah,
boys up, it can
they
get
were definitely humbled very quickly.
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It looked
It
like you
was
said, Alexandra. It was close early, and it looked like Biggest Skis might hang in that game. And once they woke Yaga up, it got bad. It got bad quick.
after the
Um,
first 5 minutes of the first quarter. At first, I was like, "Hey, it's gonna be a great game." Then after the second quarter, I was like, oh, "Wow, what happened?" Like I said, Biggest Skis wasn't able to get no shots down. Um, Players like Elijah and what's his name?
Danny Thomas.
Yeah, there we go. Danny Thomas. They were mainly their main scorers for the team and stuff like that. But they even still struggling wise to get into that shoe-in form for him. You know, when he really gets his shot on, there's no stopping him. But sadly to say, his shot wasn't really going in. Unfortunately, that was a big factor. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was the big three for the biggest skis all year was pretty much Eli, Devin, and Danny, and they did their best to, compete. But I think Devin was really the main culprit of the trash talking, and they really kind of rallied and ganged up on him pretty good. But he stood his ground. He had a pretty solid game. He actually ended with 19 points. He shot pretty efficiently. But the Yaga boys were definitely in his head every time that ball didn't go in for him, and you definitely saw that have an impact on the game. Later on at 10 o'clock, we had the Redeem versus Get Money game. And I think in that first game with Yaga and Biggest Skis, like Alexandra said, we were kind of maybe some of us were pulling for the underdogs, but we kind of anticipated Yaga winning that game in the fashion that they did. This Redeem versus Get Money game was a different story. I think we all anticipated this one being a much closer game, and it wasn't that. Get Money ends up blowing Redeem team out 88-51. Ashton, why don't you talk a little bit about that surprise? As I know you picked Redeem team. What you see out there from these two teams?
Also talking after game to Redeem, and they said the same thing. They came out cold. They just came into the game and they just couldn't get a shot going. They couldn't get a groove going. Get Money, they came in with like fuel under their fire, and they just came in the game like nobody ever picked them. Like they were the biggest underdogs in the history of the legacy leagues, and they came out and they showed how good they are. And we all know how good Get Money is. They played really well all year long. They were the third seed. They are the third seed in the playoffs. They're facing number two Redeem. I thought this game was going to be close as well, and it'd be a better game than it turned out. But becoming out cold to start the game doesn't help, especially when the other team just came out hitting shots like it was like they were all Steph Curry.
Yep, absolutely. Alexandra, what you see?
So for this game, my team won. I was very excited about that. Get Money. Something I did notice about Get Money, I just feel like they had a whole system in place. Like every time, once they hit 4 minutes, they already had a whole new team coming in ready to sub in. So I think that definitely helped them a lot, because the players weren't getting extremely tired. So I just feel like they knew what they were doing. Ty The McRae brothers, again, like they're real. I think they're really great players, making a lot of shots. And I thought this was going to be a very close game. At first, it really seemed like that. I'm like, okay, it's going to be a lot more. We're going to be sweating in this one, but unfortunately, that's not what I saw. But yeah, I just think Get Money has like a whole system, and I think it really helped them.
What you see out there, Jahbari?
adding on to what Alexandra said, the game I thought was gonna be very close. Great, both great teams. But it came down the line between substitutions in my defense. I feel like not to knock down Get Money, they're a great team, but I also feel like if Redeem team had more players, like substitution wise, it would have been oddly closer. I wouldn't say that they would have won, but it would have been way closer than what the score was. Feel like stamina play a big factor and stuff between the teams. Like Alexandra said, every 4 minutes, every 4 or 5 minutes, they have substitutions to bring a whole new team in. Meanwhile, Redeem team only had one extra player, so it would be hard for them to really, have the rest breaks and stuff like that when it's not that really substitutions going on between them. So that played a big factor. Also, with Cray brothers, just like what Alexandra said. I know that Tyler he's the starting for to get money. And then Xavier he plays off the bench. I feel like Xavier off the bench is a huge extra factor for them because he knows how to maneuver the ball. He gets to his spots. He's a great IQ player, so it's hard to stop him when he's on the court. Same thing for Tyler. He could not just stop him. He was just shooting on threes like he's Curry. deep range. And I was like, wow, I couldn't believe this. It's hard for you to stop the McKay brothers when they get hot.
Yeah, the McRae brothers have been a dynamic duo all season long for Get Money. They're pretty much unstoppable when they get rolling, and we saw that in this game. And like you guys mentioned, the lack of depth to Redeem Team, that's kind of been their story all season long. Um, you know, not having Quintuan Miles, aka Pooch,
Uh,
um, that was a huge loss for Redeem Team. And unfortunately, when I talked to Redeem after the game, I said, not having him, that really sucked for you guys. And they said, yeah. And the worst part about it was we thought he was coming. So I think it felt like for me, Redeem Team was trying to just stay in that game as long as they could until Quintuan got there. And unfortunately, he never did. So that was definitely something that, I think had a huge role in that game because if you look at the previous matchup between Redeem and Get Money earlier in the year, Quintuan went absolutely off in that game, and he was a huge reason why Redeem was able to win. So not having him in that game, and then on top of it, just not having a lot of players on their bench in general, that definitely hurt Redeem Team and their chances in winning that game. Reggie was good. He had 21 points. He wasn't really efficient because I feel like he felt like I have to do everything, and he was coming down. And he's a really good tough shot maker. But I mean, you shoot so many tough shots. Some aren't going to go in, and especially when you're playing a great defensive team like Get Money, it just makes it hard to operate on the offensive end. And when you're the best player on the team and defense knows that, they're gonna hound you, and they're gonna make everything that you do a lot harder to do out there successfully. So definitely a tough night for Redeem. We hope that those boys are back next year because they definitely have some great players and a lot of potential. I know that a lot of people had some championship hopes for them when they came into the season. A lot of veterans that have played in this league for a long time. Um, yeah, it was definitely a tough ending for them, but the rookie team Get Money, their first season in the league, to the championship they go, and that's going to set us up, guys. Let's talk about that championship game. We got Get Money versus Yaga. That's going to be, that's going to be box office. Let's be real. That's a great matchup. The classic veteran team, Yaga, who's been in this league forever. They have multiple championships versus a rookie team and Get Money, who's hungry and they want it. So Ashton, who do you think's going to win? Give me a final score prediction. And why do you think that team you're picking is going to win?
I'm actually gonna pick Get Money. I think the underdog can actually win this. They're coming in a very big momentum. We knew Yaga was gonna blow out biggest skis. It wasn't really that surprising because the way Yaga played, and it's not the biggest skis in any way. They played well all year. It's just they played Yaga, and we all know what they're gonna do. But Get Money came into a game that we all expected to be close, and they blew out the Redeem Team. And they're gonna go in if they can keep that fire going into the championship. They could beat Yaga. So I'm gonna say the final score is gonna be 85-79.
85-79. I like it. I like it. The underdog call there. Alexandra, who you picking to win the championship matchup?
Um, this is going to be a great game. I'm very excited for it, but I am also going for the underdogs. I'm going for Get Money. I just like this whole season, like the way they play, they have a system in place, and I just truly think that they can win. Um, the scoring, I don't know. I think it's going to be close. I would maybe go with Ashton with this. 80, 80, 90, I'm going to go for.
Okay.
Maybe, but hey, maybe they surprise us.
Okay. All right. So we got two underdog calls. Jahbari, are you going with the underdog or are you going with the favorites in Yaga?
I'm gonna be the oddball. I'm gonna choose the favorites, the Yaga. I just feel like I want to go for Get Money, but especially since this is the rematch, basically, of earlier in the season when they played each other, because when they played each other during the season, Yaga blew them out. So it's like Get Money has something to prove here, but I just feel like Yaga is so stacked right now. It's just hard for them to really, especially in the paint. I forgot his name, but one of the players on Yaga, he reminds me of this player, and I was telling everybody, I was even telling his teammates and stuff like that, that he reminds me of this player on the Celtics, Glenn Davis. It's like because the guy I forgot his name though. Actually I'm gonna have to look it up later, but he was so unstoppable in the paint. Like when they was playing against Biggest Skis, nobody was getting rebounds on him, and he's a great shooter. Um, it's just like size wise, Yaga has it in my defense because Get Money. I feel like they're quicker, but it's like when it comes to defense wise, I feel like Yaga has that advantage over them, and so it's gonna be hard for them to really get the shots. I feel like in my defense that they want. So it's gonna be a great game, but I have Yager as my favorite.
Yeah, I'd help you out there. That guy you're talking about is definitely Eric Langston.
There
Big
you go.
dude can
There you go.
shoot.
I'm literally looking at. I'm literally looking right now. I was like, which one is it? I
Yeah,
was just, bro. He's unstoppable.
yeah.
Like
Wait,
he was.
Connor, you have to tell us who you're going for.
Oh, of course. No, I wasn't letting it. You can't see it from here, but I got the Yaga merch on. Shout out my boy Pratt for getting me this. I'm rocking with Yaga to win this, and I had a pretty good track record in picking the finals. I think in the 6 seasons, I was like 6 for 6, all the way up to the very last Connecticut season that we had. Greg's favorite team, the Flint Tropics, were in the championship, and they were facing basically the same team. They were called Shocker City. Now they call themselves Yaga, so they kind of rebranded their team, but it was basically all the same players. And I rode with those boys, and Greg's Flint Tropics ended up winning that game, and they ruined my perfect record. But I'm still riding with Yaga. Just so much talent on that team. They got the GOAT Mike Davis. Shout out Mike, 2,000 point club, one and only. I just love watching those guys play. To me, like win or lose, like you just know when they come out there to play basketball, like it's just going to be entertainment. It's so funny to watch them. They're always talking trash to each other too, especially Pratt and Mike. They're always going at it with one another. And then at the same time, you got some new players like Kyle Davis, who's been phenomenal. He was so good in that last game um, against the Biggest Skis. He basically scored like all their points in the first quarter and just kind of they never even looked back. And then you got guys like Eric Langston, Dave Armstrong. I think that guy TJ Killings, who's been really good in the few games that he's played. I think he's gonna, from what I've heard, he'll be there for the finals. So that's just one more weapon in the arsenal for Yaga. So I'm gonna ride with Yaga to win this game. I think they win it pretty handedly. I know Get Money. I know they watch these because they came up to me this past week and they shook my hand for picking them to win and advance to the finals. So I know that they watch and they're probably hoping that I'm going to ride with them again. But unfortunately, no disrespect to them, they're a great team. I'm going to ride with Yaga. I think what Get Money brings to the table, the only advantage I think that they truly have over Yaga is that they're, I think, a little bit more organized. I think they have better play calls and better setups. They do a full court press on defense. And they're very good at passing the ball and getting each other involved. So I think that would be their advantage that they're going to have to rely on. But at the same time, I think Yaga's talent is just overkill. There's just so many players on their team that can go out there and score 20 plus on any given night. And if you're looking at Get Money, they definitely have players that are capable of scoring, but it mainly comes through that two-headed monster, which is the McRae brothers. So it'll be down to, is that enough to take down Yaga in this game? So that should wrap it up. I got Yaga. I got Yaga all the way to the end. I think I don't know if I predicted the final score, but I
No,
think
you
Yaga,
didn't.
I think Yaga wins by 16.
16. Ooh,
I'll go.
that's a bold statement right there.
Yeah. I know. I think I'll go 184. I think that'll be my prediction. I think it'll be high scoring. But any final thoughts for you guys before we wrap things up here?
I think one thing about Yaga too is that they truly enjoy playing the game. Like watching them play is very entertaining. Like they laugh a lot, and I feel like that can sometimes get into the other team's head. Um, I think that's another thing that I've noticed. I feel like they can get in somebody's head with how much they're enjoying the game, what they're saying to each other. Like they're just so unbothered, which I think is very entertaining to watch as well.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So that's going to wrap it up for the Connecticut Winter 2024 Semifinals post-game show. We look forward to the championship next week, Yaga versus Get Money. We hope that if anyone's watching, whether you're a fan or a player, that you're there in the stands or on the court. whether it be whatever team you're rooting for. It's going to be a great game, and we're excited for it. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week.